The first principle to effective communication, clarity, okay? When you talk about clarity, there are two things you need to understand about clarity when you're communicating, when you're trying to make your message clear. Two things. Number one, there is clarity of thought, and then there is clarity of expression. Now, regarding clarity of thought, the communicator must be clear about what is the objective of communication, what is to be communicated, and which medium will prove to be the most suitable for this purpose. You don't want to start by reversing that. You don't want to start by asking yourself, wait, how am I going to relate this information? I think I'm going to send an email. And then you send it. Now, you first of all have to ask yourself, what exactly am I even communicating? Why? Okay, what is the purpose of this? That should be the first thing. So the first thing should not be, how am I going to relay this information? So that is the thing about clarity of thought. Now, clarity of expression, remember the receiver becomes aware of whatever you are thinking or whatever you want to say based on how you've expressed it. So in order to make our expression perfect, we need to pay attention to a number of things, such as, number one, use simple words. So you don't have to say demonstrate when you can say show. You don't have to say subsequent to when you can just say after. You don't have to say previous to or prior to when you can say before. The point is simple words, okay? Because you're trying to create understanding. If the purpose of communication is to create confusion, then go ahead, use complex words. Yeah, and then you'll sound like an old dictionary, okay? But simple words tend to work. Number two, use concrete expressions, the sort of expressions that will make people see. There is a reason why you're told, show them, don't tell them. For instance, look at this sentence. Goods are soon being dispatched. Yeah, we've communicated. Goods are soon being dispatched. Except there are a lot of question marks, okay? When is soon? How soon is soon? How about goods will be dispatched on 2nd April? So in that case, you know when. I mean, but look, then again, if you're doing damage control, if you're not certain when the goods are going to be dispatched, but you still want to communicate, then you can use the vague expression, right? But in this case, remember, we are trying to create clarity. Next, prefer active constructions. Active constructions, that is grammar, right? They're the sort of sentences that tell you who did something, not something was done. I mean, here's an example of something that is just not active, rather it's passive, right? Your efforts are appreciated by all of us. Okay, yeah. Now the other version of that sentence will be, all of us appreciate your efforts. And you see this even with blog posts. I mean, if you write a blog and you're using something like, there are those plugins that help you to optimize your blog, right? And then they'll tell you your blog is X% passive or X% active. So the point is, active construction, we start talking and we know exactly this is the person doing the thing. And so we prefer that. I mean, there are scenarios where you'll get away by, if you use the passive, but for the most part, active kind of works in creating understanding. Both are important. It's just the context in which you're communicating. Are you trying to create understanding instantly, or do you want it to take time? Next, avoid excessive use of the infinitive, basically to plus verb. For instance, it's the duty of the cashier to disperse salaries. Or, the cashier disperses salaries. It's my job to supervise. Or, I supervise. So which of those ones do you think kind of makes sense to you? I mean, both of them. All those sentences, they communicate something. But rather than saying it's my job to supervise, I supervise kind of makes you own the situation. Next, avoid jargon. Okay? I mean, yeah, it's your world. And so you want to use those words that make sense in that career. Except to the rest of the people, you're just saying things which aren't clear. And next, avoid ambiguity. Ambiguity just means that, your sentence has more than one meaning. For instance, Jack told John that he was fired. So who exactly was fired? Was it Jack or was it John? See, that sentence is ambiguous. And finally, use short sentences. Why is that? Because the more sentences you write, the higher chances you're going to make a mistake. Or the more you talk, the higher the chance that you're going to become, people are just going to drift. Okay? So that is the thing with clarity, the first principle.